Yeah, I don't fucking know, man. He's a moderator for Rich as well? I'm pretty sure he's always been one. I don't think that's anything new, bruh. Technically, I'm a moderator for Rich as well. Well, I was at least before he purged all the mods. Who gives a shit? Being a mod does not mean anything, bro. You jumping on that Starfield, my boy. What do you mean? I thought it comes out Friday. Yeah, I think that just makes more sense. And then can have it connected here. They need to add glass slabs to to Minecraft. Like, it really pisses me off that they've never fucking added that shit to this game. Like, I've always wanted glass slabs for as long as this game's fucking existed, and they've never fucking added it. It's irritating, man. It really fucking pisses me off. Alright. Let me quit before I keep doing extra shit. Bro, I just always get caught up playing fucking Minecraft. I guess that is my autistic addiction, right? Alright. Flashbang. Boner? Whoa! I love boners. Oh my god, dude. Big boobs. When you catch eye contact with your gym crush.
I ain't gonna tell him, babe, I get it, darling. Yeah, you got a situation, stop sweating, darling. Yeah, just cool, don't panic, darling. I ain't gonna tell him, babe, I get it.
Oh my god, bro. That's what happens to me every single time. I hate when that happens, and then your hands start shaking and you can't even drink your drink, dude. Oh my god. Wow. Brett with the 5, the average Takis enjoyer. Alright, I'll pull it up. Alright, it's queued. Alright, so first up. This.
Hello guys and gals, did not expect to be making this video today. Now ladies and gentlemen, from time to time I've covered the internet phenomenon known as Chris Chan, okay? I have a lot of favorites when it comes to internet historical pieces. I want to ask you a question. Who do you think is the most documented figure? Is it Jesus Christ? Is it Saddam Hussein? Hold on, let me start this again. Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar getting a bank job in Los Santos going, but I did not expect to be making this video today, okay? Somebody's staring at us right now. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Chan, okay? Now, I did not expect, all right, what we're about to be talking about. Now, I made videos on Chris Chan before because I like to follow a lot of...
Did he just, like, literally leave the first chunk of his video in there twice?
Internet-related phenomenons, okay? Who's the most documented figure in the world? Is it Jesus Christ, Mahatma Gandhi, Saddam Hussein, Adolf Hitler? Nah, it's Christine Weston Chandler, Chris Chan, Sonichu's creator, the father of Sonichu, goddess of the dimensional merge. Yeah, there's a lot of shit I wish I could purge from my brain cells, but, you know, the dimensional merge has not happened yet, as far as I know. Peter Griffin isn't flying around the world, okay? You know, Aladdin isn't flying on his magic carpet around, last I checked, but Christine Chandler has been released from prison. In fact, charges have been dismissed. Now, a while back, you may have remembered a situation that we call the incest saga. So this is a situation where Chris Chan had a... You know, this video is already going to get demonetized anyways. Chris Chan did their mom. All right, it is what it is. So there was an incestuous relationship, and usually I'm under the impression that this is one of those criminal cases that should, like, disgust any human being, okay? I sat down with my mom, had this discussion. She hung up the phone halfway into the call, so you can tell already the general public does not approve of this. Now, according to this Greene County Circuit Criminal Division, Chandler Christine, Ruckersville, Virginia. And of course, you can see right here at 9 a.m. they reviewed this case and they dismissed it. Now, according to the U.S. law, all right, dismiss refers to the court's decision to terminate a court case without imposing liability on the defendant. The court may dismiss a case in response to a defendant's motion to dismiss or do so sua sponte, voluntarily. Now, this is, like, incredibly lucky. It's kind of like if you committed a murder and they caught you red-handed with the murder weapon in the hand, like, bleeding, and they still decided to, like, let you go. This is one of those scenarios. Now, I'm a firm believer that the state of Virginia, in fact, no state in the United States, has an idea of how to process such a volatile situation. And Chris Chan was in prison for quite a long time. In jail, really, not prison, in jail. I know there's a bit of a difference. So
he was in there for, like, over a year, right? Because I remember Ethan Ralph is the one that filmed him getting arrested, which I feel like was, like, during the COVID lockdowns, right?
Jail for a little bit. Because honestly, the state of Virginia was like, how do we handle this? How do we process this? How do we, like, process this situation? And being in jail for so long, they were let out a couple months ago where they were just, like, hanging around the world, okay? They were in the open world. So a fair amount of the community, all right, you know, people on the internet were following this person around, literally geolocating them. It got to the point where finding Chris Chan at a Walmart or, like, you know, at a 7-Eleven was like finding Sasquatch, okay? It got to a really weird...
Claus Mystery with the 20, it got 100% dismissed because of his she-her. I don't think so. Apparently his mom was already dead when supposedly he raped her. Or either... So I'm not 100%. So when did his mom die? Did his mom just die, or did she die before he got arrested? Because either, like, it never happened... Hold on, let's see. I'm gonna look this up. Chris Chan, mother dead. I don't fucking know. That's what somebody was saying in the chat earlier. Somebody was saying in the chat earlier that she was dead. She's not dead? So yeah, my guess is what happened is she chose not to press charges and said it was all bullshit.
Like, stalkery situation. Something that I want to just firmly state I don't condone. I think that's really weird behavior, but that was basically post-jail saga. The next step in this was Chris Chan hanging around on the old Nintendo Switch. So this showed us that Chris was basically in a halfway house, and I guess they allowed Chris to have access to the internet, which is a little bit shocking given, you know, their propensity to upload random shit on the internet all the time. So they were just playing, like, every Pokemon game nonstop on the Switch the last few days. It's been a wild few days, but after all of...
Why is he saying they constantly? Chris Chan is a man. Chris Chan is a admitted fucking trans woman for the sole purpose of trying to get with lesbians. Chris Chan is not a fucking trans person, bruh. Just call him what he is, a guy. He's a dude in a fucking wig. Pablo Herb with a 2. Bro, she loves her son. Yeah, she fucked her son up so hard.
Of that, what it effectively started happening, where it was people had noticed that Chris Chan was just constantly liking stuff on X. A lot of stuff was pony related. It gets to the point where it's pretty NSFW pony related. So if you're noticing some big blurs here, it's because it's literally pony pussy on the screen. Can't really show it, can I? So again, charges have been dismissed. Literally, the charge was incest with own child. And yeah, the state of Virginia had no idea how to process it, and that's how Chris Chan literally got away with incest. Now, realistically, if I want to be honest here, I don't think Chris Chan is ever allowed near their mom again, which is a really sad thought when I think about it, for the separation of a child and their parent. But then you realize what they did with their parent, and you're like, wow, I'm glad that Chris Chan probably can't see their parent. In fact, I think the stipulation for the release probably involved a state carer, which is what I said all along. It's probably the only way to live if you're Chris Chan, have a state-mandated carer, live in a halfway house, and most importantly, you know how like a lot of predators, are told not to go near school zones? Chris Chan is not supposed to go near retirement homes, okay? Especially stuff like that, all right? Retirement home, old folks homes, that's never supposed to happen. You can't have a skater boy situation, okay? So this is the life, all right? This is what it is. Chris Chan has been released from jail, and no charges, no nothing. Meaning that, like most situations in Chris's life, when it comes to law enforcement, he gets off with the absolute luck of a cockroach, all right? Nothing will stop this individual. But yeah, it is what it is. I never expected to be making this video with this specific information. Frankly, I'm very disgusted.
Yeah, dude, Chris Chan is on record saying that he's pretending to be a trans woman so that he would have a chance to sleep with lesbians. Like, this is part of his love quest. Like, he wasn't having any luck with straight women, so he decided to transition, quote-unquote, into a fucking woman so that he could have sex with lesbians. So, yeah, no, he's not a real fucking trans woman or any of that type of shit. He's literally LARPing as a woman to try and get lesbian pussy.
The state should have handled this in a much better way. But then I realized that Chris Chan is a wild individual, a very weird, stunted individual, not really an adult. And there's no real way to process the situation. So I'm going to go throw up, ladies and gentlemen. And it is what it is. I think this whole saga has ended. The dimensional merge has failed to really show anything.
Now, after having a whole night to truly process this information, waking up with more reflection, this entire case was kind of crapped out to begin with. Now, in no excuse am I sitting here trying to downplay the sick crimes and perversions, but this is one of those situations where the person committing them is just mentally not there. So I think the entire state just honestly kept them locked up in jail.
Yeah, they just need to go through with the lobotomy.
Again, didn't really know how to process anything, and because of how long they spent in prison, I pretty much said early on, like months ago, that the reason that they're even allowed outside is because even if you looked at how much that they would get charged by, had they gone through sentencing and gone through an entire trial, they would have sentenced to say a year or something, which if you've already spent a year in prison, as far as I understand legally, that's time served. So you would literally just say, hey, you've been sentenced to a year. Oh, you've already served a year. All right, get out. Which I think that's pretty much where it was coming down to. At the end of the day, I'm absolutely 100% sure that the stipulation is you don't go near old people and you're absolutely watched for the rest of your life. Which, given this person's, point in life, I absolutely believe that to be what they need, 100%. This is not like an adult. I mean, they're an adult in what they did, and they should be tried like an adult. But mentally, I don't think this person is an adult. And there's been an entire, I would say, decade plus 2 decade long campaign of trolling to the point where, they'll never be a normal person, okay? Chris Chan's never going to be normal. And this is...
Really? Pablo Herb with a 5. Also, despite that, he's a known mentally challenged person, so he's not mentally in the right mind to be trans. To be fair, most trans people aren't. Yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms, bro. I mean, let's just go based off of what the World Health Organization, the leading health expert in international health and medical related topics, they support wearing masks, getting your booster shots, all of that. So, they probably also, believe in...
Respect trans kids, affirm trans rights, stand with Ukraine, Black Lives Matter, trans visibility is valid.
According to the WHO, gender dysphoria is a mental illness, so... Yeah, I think that's fair.
where the saga...
But of course, that's based solely on the expert opinion of the World Health Organization. I would never be that bigoted, man.
Ultimately stops, okay? This is where it's all pretty much done. I don't think they'll be allowed to make posts, videos on the internet, just because that's pretty much what invites situations like this in the first place. You know, if you looked back into like Isabella Janke, the troll group that basically goaded Chris Chan into doing this heinous action in the first place, they're not going to allow this person to touch the internet, and if they do touch the internet, not to produce any generated content. And maybe that is like the stipulation. Maybe breaking that can cause severe consequences. But if it's one thing about consequences in Chris Chan's life, again, like I said earlier last night, okay, literally they could commit a murder, have the murder weapon on them, dripping blood.
It's like, hold on, let's see what this is. Penalty for incest in Virginia. So, any person who engages in sexual intercourse with any person whom he is forbidden by law to marry is guilty of a Class 1 misdemeanor. So, yeah, up to 12 months. So, they probably just had to let him go. If that was his charge, was, incest, that's a Class 1 misdemeanor, meaning that he could only be imprisoned for 12 months total. So it's like, well, you've already been in jail for a year, so even if we charged you, you'd have to leave. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Blood. And still,
he basically was found guilty without being found guilty, in a sense.
Somehow find a way to get away. That's how insane it is. But ladies and gentlemen, this is me, Mudahar, and yeah, I'm out.
Oh, God. Here we go, guys. Get excited.
The only double standards I'll tolerate are double D's.
Nice cock. Perfect.
Jesus fucking Christ, man. Laura Pothead investor with the 2, bro. What about the rape of his mother? I don't think she ever, like, pressed charges against him for it. So that's the thing, is in order to be convicted of rape, a victim has to come forward and say that you raped them. So that's the thing. So unless she wanted to press charges, then he's not going to be accused or charged with rape. Incest, however, you know, that's going to be a crime where, you know, obviously if it's 2 willing participants, they're not going to want to prosecute each other. So that's when the state has to step in and, you know, bring up the charges themselves.
Welcome back to OtakuDaiKun. I'm Daichan Alter, and once again I'm here because prudes are infringing on my rights to
Yup, it's the AI, man.
enjoy fiction. The catalyst for today's summoning is Baldur's Gate.
Actually, it's more of, I think it's more of a voice changer. I don't know if that's AI. That sounds more like voice changing. Because AI wouldn't get, like, the cadence of, like, how he delays the final fucking syllable of his sentences. So I think this is more of a voice changer.
8-3, a Western RPG that came out in August. I have nothing to say about the
You
game.
see how he says, like, in August? Like, he draws out that last fucking syllable. I don't really think you can train AI to do that, right? Maybe you can. I have no fucking idea.
Quality itself, but rather some of the things you can do in the game. Let's not beat around the bush. Hell, I'll shave it clean to admit that Baldur's Gate 3 has many—
Dude, Cyberpunk did not have customizable genitals. I was very disappointed in Cyberpunk's penis fucking customization, bro, because they hyped that game up like you'd be able to customize your cock in every single way imaginable, and it literally was just a slider for how large you wanted it, and you couldn't even make it that fucking big. Like, Saints Row 3 had way better genital customization than fucking Cyberpunk did.
Many adult themes. Like Cyberpunk before it, the game's character creation mode allows you to customize genitalia with surprising detail. For instance, if you give your hero a trouser snake, you can pick whether it has a hood on, if you get what I'm saying. This
Yeah. You either have an anteater or a civilized cock.
stuff gets put to good use in various intimate scenes, the most infamous being when you romance a druid who turns into a bear. In second
Into a bear.
place, you can walk in on some ogres getting down and dirty. That's a double
Dirty. Ugh, dude, the way he talks is so fucking horrible. I want to, like, literally just kill myself. Bruh. I should not have to listen to someone speak like this.
dose of zoophilia right there. Without question, Baldur's Gate 3 is a degenerate game. Don't get me wrong, I love degeneracy, but I bring
Really? I would have never guessed.
it up because the folks who normally condemn this stuff are suspiciously celebrating it.
No, the ones that go against degeneracy in anime, at least from what I've seen, are the people who go after degeneracy that involves literal fucking kids. But hey, a little bit different type of degeneracy than a fucking troll or whatever fucking an ogre. You know, that's not quite the level of degeneracy as, like, you know, 11-year-olds getting butt fucked. But hey, you know?
Instead of condemning the game for its raunchy antics, they're praising it, which is something they never do when it comes to anime games, or honestly any Japanese media in general. If you enjoy this content, be sure to like, comment, share, and
Yeah, I think there's different levels of degeneracy, you know? A fucking video game character banging a bear, I don't think is on the same level as putting a 12-year-old in a sexual situation, but hey, I'm not the moral arbiter of the internet, now am I?
smash that subscription bell as if it were your waifu. Be a generous supporter by signing up as a channel member on YouTube or joining our Subscribe Star or Patreon. All three platforms offer the same perks, such as early access and exclusive content that's too spicy for YouTube. Without further ado,
Ooh.
let's spread this double standard
Oh my god, bro, I bet the videos have the anime character without the bra on.
wide open. So yeah, there's no shortage of headlines pointing out how relentlessly thirsty Baldur's Gate 3 is. Apparently, there are plenty of other things the game does well, but this is what most of the media has chosen to focus on. According to the Mary Sue, your ability to bang a bear is proof that your game is good. Normally, I'd agree. If a game can show off a bit of fan service before launch, I at least know the developers aren't being prudish or kowtowing to ESG. But the Mary Sue, what's up with that? Discussion on social media exploded when PC Gamer expressed its love for the game's adult content, and anime fans humbly pointed out that such words are never spoken about Japanese games, or even Asian games at large.
What? What the fuck is this motherfucker smoking, bruh? That's literally the main reason people like anime at all, is because they're sexually attracted to the fucking, you know, anime chicks. What fucking anime merchandise sells better than anything else? The big titty anime girls. Like, the fuck is he smoking? No, what gets called out in anime is the kids. The children. To my knowledge, everyone inside of Baldur's Gate is above the age of 18. I mean, Mass Effect has literally been celebrated for, what, over a decade? Going on, what, 15 years now? For being, like, literally a massive fucking space bang session? Like, everybody bought Mass Effect because you could bang aliens. Like, when has, like, the media not celebrated fucking sex in video games? I don't know. That seems pretty consistently, like, acceptable. I've never heard of, like, an outrage about sex scenes in a video game.
Typically, when one of these games isn't being called sexist, objectifying, or misogynistic, it'll at least be slandered as out of date for modern sensibilities. Who can forget when Project Eve's bodacious protagonist was labeled unattractive, a design from a bygone era? That same website shoveled praise onto Forspoken, and I don't need to tell you how that worked out. This isn't the first time we've seen a strange acceptance of sexuality in a Western game. The Last of Us Part 2 featured
Well,
a full...
dude, ugly bitches are always going to complain when a beautiful woman is displayed, because it makes them look fucking ugly. Like, ugly chicks are always hating on beautiful women. That's like the most common fucking thing that women do to each other in real life. They're always hating on each other because they're jealous.
Full-on, caught in 4K sex scene featuring strong female character Abby. I remember back when we all assumed she was a man. Sorry, Laura Bailey, but your voice is much better suited to a good game like Catherine. Come to think of it, Catherine's one of the only Japanese games I can think of where its adult themes aren't mocked. The thing about Catherine, though, is that it never actually showed people getting busy. And if it did, we know the game would have been given an adults-only rating and completely neutered on Sony consoles. That's what makes the Abby scene so insulting. Why does she get a pass when countless Japanese games get covered up for far less? There's a huge tinge of irony to this whole mess when you consider that the Abby scene was actually censored from the Japanese version of Last of Us. You see, Japan, despite being a haven of degenerate fiction, isn't actually allowed to show full frontal nudity in any of its console games. The Sero ratings board just doesn't allow for it. Their PC market is an entirely different story, but for console releases, you will never see genitalia, or so much as a woman's nipple. All these Eastern games the West complains about have—
Yeah, thank God you can't see your fucking nipple, man. That doesn't really leave much to the imagination. It would be a real shame if a nipple was in that picture, right, guys? I think it would completely change the nature of it. Thank God for Japan, you know, blocking out that fucking nipple. What the fuck?
never gone past a skimpy outfit like this one from Dead or Alive. This is as lewd as it gets, people. Games like Senran Kagura, which are absolutely dripping with libido, only accomplish their antics through clever, comedic censors. You would need to mod these games to see any further, and if, God forbid, you do see someone in the buff, they're shown with Barbie doll anatomy. That's right, the most indecent thing to come from a Japanese console game is undressing a toy that kids have been playing with for decades. Meanwhile, here's a scene that would only be featured in an adults-only game, being sold as a PlayStation exclusive with an M rating. Sony's censor station is notorious for demanding that Asian devs censor far tamer visuals, and here they are using an adult—
No, they demand that you censor visuals on kids. Like, we're ignoring the age difference of the characters here to prove a fucking point, and it's not proving the point because when you factor in the fact that the characters that need to be censored in a lot of these games are literally like 14.
scene from a Western game as a special promotion. How is this not a double standard? I recall someone in the industry defending The Last of Us by saying the scene was appropriate because it wasn't meant to be attractive or titillating. It's not one of those male gaze situations. Therefore, it's a valid form of art rather than exploitive objectification. First off, I love how they admit—
Pablo Herba the 2 dripping with the time is— oh my god, bruh.
that Abby isn't appealing. As funny as that is, I've seen this argument before with regard to censorship, and it's absolutely disgusting when you reach deep enough into what it implies. Basically, they're saying that explicit material is acceptable so long as presumed straight men don't get off to it. This logic is ironic in that it actively enables misogyny, dictating what women
Misogyny is based.
can and can't reveal based on men's preferences is a critical part of patriarchy. Dudes used to demand their wives cover up to prevent other men from lusting after their property. This strategy never worked either, since people are so thirsty that they can develop a fetish for just about anything. Plus, the more you tell someone not to look at something, the more tempting it becomes to disobey. Things become sexier when you're told you can't have them. Therefore, banning or censoring certain content only drags more attention to it and further limits how people can express themselves. Imagine telling an athlete that she can't wear a sports bikini just because spectators are distracted by it. Fetishes are everywhere, and rather than trying to suppress them, you're better off addressing them when people pursue them inappropriately. This girl right here is mega hot, but it's not like I can't—
Yeah, dude, that's so mega hot. Nothing turns me on like lines on paper, bro. Holy shit. Isn't that so hot, guys? Wow.
respect the art of rock climbing just because
Dude, I do not understand. I do not understand how you can be sexually attracted to a fucking drawing.
people who do it present themselves like this. You can cover someone from head to ankle, and we'll still find a way to make drama about their toes. You can't judge what's appropriate or not based on how horny people get. A sex scene is a sex scene, regardless of whether it's appealing or not. Another excuse for why games like The Last of Us and Baldur's Gate get a free pass to Lewd Town is that they feature adult characters. In contrast, Japanese media is seen as problematic by these people for having adult scenes with minors. While that does happen quite often due to cultural differences, I feel
Let's just downplay it. Yep, pedophilia is just a fucking cultural difference, guys, you know? It's a difference of culture. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. They just have a different culture. The 13-year-old can be naked because my culture. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Claw's Mystery with a 20. I rate that girl a 6 out of 10. Thanks so much for watching.
Feel this argument is in bad faith for assuming that anime characters are inherently childlike. It isn't fair to the art style at all. Plus, the argument doesn't account for the many times obvious adults are censored in Asian games. Journalists are hell-bent to condemn anime, even when it features busty, MILF-like characters, such as the sorceress in Dragon's Crown. Let's not forget that Sony had Trish's butt covered up with a lens flare for Devil May Cry 5. Surely she was an obvious adult. In recent years, Capcom's really eaten up this ESG smegma too, declaring that Japan's standards are hurtful to the West. Excuse me, but if we can have The Last of Us and South Park, trust me, we'll survive if Jill and Tifa wear actual skirts. Perhaps the worst defense of this Western double standard comes from the idea that Baldur's Gate and its degeneracy are queer-friendly. Sir, last time I checked, the B in LGBT stood for bisexual, not bestiality. This argument reeks of the whole Bayonetta 3 debacle, where a journalist condemned Bayonetta's raunchiness the moment she took on a male lover. According to these poisoned minds, it's only okay to flaunt your sexuality when you're gay, but if you're straight, then it's just sexist and objectifying. This is the kind of logic that allows folks to wear gimp suits around children at pride parades, while my local anime convention...
I mean, dude, you said you're a fan of degeneracy, so this is what you want. This is degeneracy. So you have to either accept all forms of degeneracy or no forms of degeneracy. Because degeneracy is a fucking plague. It doesn't fucking stop with what you like. It has to be rooted out at the fucking source and burned. Pablo Herb with the 5. Sorry, Griffin. I meant it's dripping with that. Wait, tism, not time. Also, lolicons are just a cultural thing. I know, dude. It's not a big deal. You know, like, this isn't a big deal, right? It's just culture, man.
Logic that allows folks to wear gimp suits around children at pride parades, while my local anime convention bans side boob and under boob. I'll move on from that though, since I already covered Bayonetta thoroughly in a different video. Ultimately, anime fans are just making a simple observation. If Western devs can make degenerate games...
FBI with the 2, yo, what breed of dog is that? A cuck retriever. I don't fucking know.
And be praised for it, why can't Japanese ones? It's not even praise we're looking for, but simply a right to exist without being berated or censored. Why is that so hard? That's what she said. One thing I don't see get brought up much regarding this double standard is the treatment of Code Vein when it first launched. This is one of those rare cases where a Japanese anime-themed console game was specifically directed to mature audiences, and yet it still got flack for daring to have boobs and skimpy outfits. I remember
Who cares what one rando fucking retard journalist has to say? Like, why do people put so much fucking weight on, like, games journalists? Really? They're a bunch of fucking dorks that are in their 40s, living with roommates in San Francisco, who make, like, less than minimum wage in a lot of cases. They're fucking losers.
This article from Rock Paper Shotgun by Matt Cox, which called the game sexist for its sexy ladies, all of whom are adults, mind you. I could humor an author simply wanting the men to be skimpy too, but that's not the case here. Instead, he condemns the eye candy in general, specifically saying, "This is going to be consistently embarrassing booby, isn't it?" Bruh, stop white knighting for feminists and play another game already. They aren't going to fuck you. Seriously, where are the articles praising EO's bosom? It's not just for straight guys, either. You can play as a woman and snuggle her thighs just like any guy can. Of course, we couldn't have a censorship video without an article from The Gamer, which complains about how unrealistic the breast physics are. Can someone please tell the devs that big boobs in a flimsy dress don't stay perfectly spherical?
I'm pretty sure The Gamer is like a communist gaming website that's run by a fat trans woman. if I'm not mistaken. I recognize that name.
Maybe they don't, but wouldn't it be cool if they did? This is a game about post-apocalyptic vampires. Your cursed blood lets you cast magic and wield swords twice your size. Selective realism much? Let's wrap things up with some extra juicy irony. You'd think that if writers are complaining about how boobs work, they would want a realistic—
Another gold mine, if you ever want shitty fucking articles to read, is I think the game Revolution or something like that. I forgot. I think that's another communist one.
believable experience, and yet the developers for Baldur's Gate are pissed that most players seem to be aiming for just that. In a post regarding bug fixes, they mentioned that despite giving players the chance to have horns, tails, and even demon eyes, the average character looks like, well, an average dude. With that being the case, it's really no surprise that the most popular romance option in this game isn't a bear or an ogre, but rather a cute elf girl. This just shows how journalists, and even Western developers, are trying to appeal to a crowd that doesn't accurately represent what they're—
Dude, what is the... Like, this is the thing, man. And this goes to the people who choose the generic fucking romance options in Mass Effect. Like, if you fuck Ashley over, what's her fucking name? Liara or whatever. It's like, what's the point of playing the game, guys? Come on now. You can bang a human chick in any fucking video game. Like, if you're playing some game with, like, weird, like, different species of, like, humanoid aliens or monsters or some shit like that, like, go for those options. You can do the fucking generic human-on-human shit in pretty much every RPG. Go for, like, the variety. I sally with the 5 most anime in Japan that have that blinding light across nudity and panty shots until Blu-ray, unless that's... Yeah, no, that is true. That's why certain anime Blu-ray discs are worth a fucking fortune. Like, there's actually a huge market for old anime Blu-rays. Because, you know, like, all the streaming services and shit apparently have the TV versions of anime. They don't have, like, the Blu-ray version. So if you want the uncensored version with the titties and everything like that, you need the Blu-ray copy, which has led to, like, this massive fucking, you know, third-party market for used and, like, second-hand, like, Blu-ray discs. And you can make a lot of money off of that shit. Because if the movies or, like, TV shows out of print from, like, Blu-rays, they can be worth, like, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars because of the fucking horny-ass weebs trying to buy them. But, yeah. 2023 Perfect Dark with the 5. Oh, one of my channel mascots. Oh no, the horror. I can't see Ayane's nips. Time to Minecraft myself because it's clearly censored. That's right, man. Reddit Screech.
Yeah, I'm a gamer!
That's close enough to a Reddit Screech. MacLord with the 2. Will Phil be around forever? Probably, man. Unless he dies of gout. Like his gout crystal cracks or whatever in his foot and he falls down the stairs. But yeah, probably.
players seem to want. The narrative they're—
Dude, Japan is not based as fuck. Dude, you do understand, like, a lot of this femboy trans stuff is a result of anime, right? Like, the Japanese have embraced all of that shit well before the US ever has. You know, the Japanese literally opt to fucking watch porn over being in actual fucking relationships, I think almost at a majority for anyone under the age of 30. Their population's literally fucking dying. What do you mean, like, they're more based? They've literally, like, I would say Japan is a victim of all this woke shit to a degree. Like, they've completely destroyed their fucking culture to basically an irreparable level because of all the shit they've done. Like in Japan, you know, women can't stay home and be mothers or housewives because the economy is so fucked. Everybody has to work. So now they're not even having fucking families. So now they like promote this culture of boss babes and all that type of shit. So no, Japan is not based. I mean, unless you consider like hating people because they're not Japanese. Like, that's, I guess the only thing you could say is like based, bro, is like they're unironically racist. But it's like, I don't know. That's more of an L, if anything, because I don't think there's anything based about being fucking racist. That just sounds stupid as fuck. But no, Japan is a dying culture, man. They are a country whose population literally will not be around in the next 100 years. Claw's Mystery with the 20, Japan literally censors kisses? I don't think they do that. They censor kisses? I find that hard to believe.
Desperate to spin isn't even working for them. With that plain as day for everyone to see, all I ask for is the right to have mature, degenerate games of my own without being judged or censored for it. The concept of safe horny isn't even a real thing. What you choose to fap to doesn't make you superior to anyone else. At the end of the day, it's all just fiction, and I wish for all this weeb shaming, incel coomer language to burn in hell where it belongs. Perhaps I happen to like opai, whereas you prefer non-binary demons with a full package. We're in the same boat, so let's both enjoy ourselves, okay?
Thanks for watching.
If you enjoy this channel, help us grow by liking.
I don't enjoy this channel. I think all degeneracy should be uprooted and purged with the cleansing flame of righteousness. It's over, we're free. That's right, man. Alright, so what is this shit?
A spendthrift, whales, consumers, they go by many names, but I like to call them wallet gamers. You know, the ones that have been assisting the corporations in their mission to destroy the gaming industry and squeeze it dry. Now some may say to just ignore these whales and that destroying the industry is a bit hyperbolic. But is it? Is it, Brian? Look around you. Can't you see, Brian? Most AAA games are being solely designed for these types of gamers, if we can even call them gamers.
Yeah, they're designed to make money, like every other product sold in the entire economy.
At this point. That's right, boys and girls, we're coming out swinging right off the bat in this video because I'm sick and tired of these little degenerate weasels stroking off the corporations, buying up all the microtransactions because
I've got the money to spend.
Oblivious to the irreparable damage they're actively causing in the industry. So buckle your seatbelts and grab a nice cold bevy because we're taking the bullet train all the way to Whale City.
Next up, Whale City.
Dude, I don't give a fuck about the damage I do to the video game industry. I don't give a fuck about video games in general because they're fucking video games, bro. I don't give a damn about any of this shit. Like, the fuck? Why is that so hard for people to understand? Like, most people don't give a flying fuck about the video game industry and the quote-unquote harm they're doing to it. It's fucking video games, bro. It ain't that deep. I saw that with the 5. I need someone to go to Japan with me just in case I go to jail for being... Oh, you won't go to jail for being black, man. After becoming a father to men. Oh, God. Bro. Becoming a father to many. I get it now. Shit. I can't afford this shit! If you stay in Tokyo, though, you should be fine. That's not really a problem area. It's when you go to, like, the smaller, more remote areas of Japan, you'll encounter the more, in-your-face racism and shit like that. Oski with the 2. When I Siler, I got you. Oh, shit. Oh, wait, not a road trip. That would be a fucking plane ride.
Home of the degenerate consumers.
How much have you spent on Apex?
500, 2,000, 250, 800, 3K on Xbox, 1.5K on PC, $3,000.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
This small sample size was taken from just 2 different Reddit posts where the Apex wallet gamers have come to congregate, and I totaled up the amounts from just these 10 individuals in the replies, which lands us at nearly $21,000 from just those 10 customers. Now for context, that means if the game were sold at $60 a piece instead, and was not a free-to-play game with microtransactions, the game would need to be purchased by 333 different customers to reach that same dollar amount. And the thing is, these 10 individuals aren't done spending, because the game gets constant influxes of cash shop items weekly. It's crazy to think that when we look at just a small sector of the internet and see this kind of whaling people openly admit to, it's easy to see why Apex Legends has made over $2 billion in its first 3 years. Some publishers like Activision try to have their cake and eat it too, charging the full $70 for Call of Duty and implementing the same free-to-play systems found in games like Apex or Fortnite. And unfortunately, it's worked out great for them financially, with Modern Warfare 2 also making $2 billion, but not in its first 3 years like Apex, in its first 3 months. Now the figures above are rookie numbers compared to the gacha gamers or free-to-play.
Dude, Call of Duty's just on a different fucking level. Rikenzie with the 5 despite only being 13% of the population. The Khajiit commit 80% of the crimes and 100% of all slave escapes with Argonians. Wait, what the fuck does that say? I have filthy farm tool. I have no idea what the fuck that middle word is supposed to be. But yeah, I don't know, man. Fuck the Khajiit. I thought it was the Dark Elves in Skyrim that were like the, you know, basically like hated race, right? I didn't think anybody had beef with the Khajiit. I thought the Khajiit were just the traitors, right? I thought the Dark Elves were like the fucking, you know, discriminated against ones. Oski with the 2 because you probably have me blocked. Who does?
Gaming.
And King Samuel with the 2, I spent at least $6K on TF2. Not proud, but suck it. Well, I mean, bro, how long have you been playing it, though? Like, how many years? So, it's not that much if you really boil it down on a year-by-year basis. It's not as crazy, but I don't know. Dude, the thing is, if you enjoy something and you want to spend money on it, who the fuck cares? You have to spend money on anything that you enjoy in today's world, so if you have disposable income and you want to use it on something that makes you happy, go for it.
Players, easily getting into the 5-figure range per person.
I think 10K. I'm not sure though. Dude, I think it might be 10K.
Oh my god, dude. That is insane. Absolutely insane. $10,000. Was it worth it?
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, look, it's like...
I'm gonna stop you right there, bro, before you embarrass yourself even further. But mobile gamers have got everyone else cleared by a mile.
I've also played mobile gaming a lot. Not only do I play a lot of computer gaming, but I play a lot of mobile gaming.
Okay.
I've been a part of a game called Clash of Clans. Have over 6 figures invested into it.
Damn, bro.
What the fuck? How do you
6 figures in Clash of Clans, bro. That dude's base must be crazy. MechLord with the 2, what happened to Sons of Kojima? I think they just got bored, man. Like, you can only make fun of someone for so long before it just kind of gets bland. But I think there was like some whole internal drama with them. I don't know. You can look it up. People have documented every single thing regarding DSP, and I think the Sons of Kojima had like a huge falling out or some shit, and there was a bunch of like autistic drama within the group, and I don't know. Oski Woski with the 2, Isadler, you blocked me. What a bitch move.
Yeah, I'm a gamer!
Damn.
100 grand on a fucking video game.
It's almost impossible to comprehend that these people are even real, but they are. And like I said in the intro, most online games are being solely made for them now. And this is why those who say just ignore the cash shop or just ignore the whales are part of the problem. For one thing, you already know that that dude isn't ignoring the cash shop, and he's probably a whale himself. But also because the cash shops are so successful, this means all the company's resources are focused on battle passes and cash shop items. Bugs, glitches, imbalances, lack of content, who cares? We just gotta keep the whales spending. So live service support.
I don't agree with that because the amount of people actually needed to create like the cash shop items are like maybe 3 to 4 people. You don't need many developers to make fucking cosmetic items. They're pretty fucking straightforward to make. So this argument kind of falls apart to me because it's not like you have to dedicate the entire development team to making battle pass content. It can be done by a few people.
starts to mean nothing when the support just means infinite cash shop updates. With a small
Like, why the fuck would a level designer work on a fucking, you know, armor skin? Like, that makes no sense.
side of content. Now, you've probably heard of the term pay to win, and many would describe it as the ability to become more powerful in a game by spending real-world money. But what exactly does it mean? So many people have different definitions by which they consider a game pay to win, and so many people have such different definitions of what winning is. Imagine a game with the ability to spend 20 bucks for an overpowered weapon, only obtainable in a cash shop, and not earnable in the game through grinding. I think most would agree that this is a prime example of pay to win, but some might change their stance if that weapon was then added to the game through 10 hours of grinding to obtain, but also left in the option to directly purchase it for 20 bucks. Is it pay to win, or pay to take a shortcut? To me, there isn't much of a difference.
It's pay to shortcut. You can't... Also, the other thing is, too, is just because, like, I know people say this with COD. It's like, bro, no, it's not pay to win just because you get weapons earlier. Unless you're actually good at the game, the weapon's not going to do you any bit of fucking good.
Being able to obtain power quicker than others.
Griffin doesn't know how to win. That's right. No matter how much money I throw at it, I still can't win.
Simply by swiping your credit card definitely falls under the pay-to-win umbrella. And we see a more complex problem in a lot of free-to-play MMO games with PvP, where paying for power level and upgrades is pretty common, and most high-end PvP matches are determined by which whale spent the most amount of money. So wallet gamers are plentiful inside these types of games.
Yeah, guys, I know, I fucking suck
and paying
at
for
video
shortcuts to
games,
power,
don't throw
whether that be
them.
through the purchase of raw materials, pay for rerolled items, or
Oh
even pay
shit,
for
let me
directly
show you
in
all
some
this.
cases.
I'm
And pay to
gonna
win
send
certainly
it in the
has a
chat.
spectrum from somewhat of a gray area to flat
This
out
thing's really
egregious.
fucking
For example,
cool.
skins in DMZ for Call of Duty that provide players with a UAV on spawn is definitely pay to win, but not nearly as bad as what Destiny 2 has become. Now, I acknowledge that Destiny 2 is not the most egregious example of pay to win. There are plenty of examples worse than it in the
check
free-to-play
this shit
MMO and
out.
gacha space, but Destiny 2 isn't a free-to-play game, which
Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up on my, This thing's fucking sick, bro. I have the black version of this, and it's actually really nice. But this version looks fucking cool, dude. I don't know. I really want this. Let me show y'all while I remember it. Dude, check this shit out. It's like this, like, I guess, updated version of a Game Boy, but it's like a glow-in-the-dark version of it. But look, so if you go down here, this is what it looks like with like the lights on. So it has like this kind of cool green color to it, which honestly I think looks pretty nice. But then that's what it looks like when it glows. I don't know, dude, it looks pretty fire. I like the glow in the dark because it's like you'd probably be playing it in a dark room anyway. But yeah, well, $250 is like the normal price of it, so you're not really paying extra. But yeah, it's a cool little device though, all things considered. I like the one I got. Like, I got that and then a legit copy of Pokemon Emerald, and it's actually a really cool way to play like old Game Boy games.
makes its pay-to-win problems that much worse.
Actually, it is free to play.
Get the fuck out of here, Brian. Everyone knows this shit ain't free to play. Pay to win in Destiny 2 isn't super obvious at a glance, and it takes a bit more digging to recognize it, but both the PvP and PvE have had serious pay to win problems over the last few years, and Bungie are pretty good at hiding its pay to win tactics through its many layers of crafting materials and upgrade paths.
A lot of people will now mention the slippery slope argument. Yes, Dado, we start with shaders, emblems, emotes, but who is to say that they won't introduce materials, armor, or weapons in the future? If we see legendary guns for sale, if we see legendary marks for sale, I'm gonna be mad. If we see something like 100 modes of light for $5, I'm gonna be mad. I don't want to see power sold, I don't want to see shortcuts to power sold, nothing. And as long as Bungie does not cross the line of cosmetic items, I think we'll be fine. If Bungie does cross that line, you have my rage.
And you add these problems on top of selling exotic weapons through $100 pre-order bonuses, and the ability to buy season pass levels, pay to win is very much alive and well inside of Destiny 2. But what about cosmetics? Cosmetics aren't pay to win, right?
It's just cosmetic.
One of the most common phrases wallet gamers love to use in justifying their whaling behavior. But in almost all video games...
Dude, if anything, the cosmetic I bought in Call of Duty last night impaired my ability to win, because it was way too distracting, especially in third person.
Cosmetics dominate progression systems, working towards unlocking camos, or helmets, or skins, emblems, whatever it is. These were all part of in-game progression and in-game achievements. So if instead players can just buy camos, skins, emblems, icons, and even entire armor sets, why bother with the progression systems?
It doesn't affect you.
Really? When the game is designed around earning cosmetics, then having a cash shop sell cosmetics absolutely affects me and the game experience as a whole for everyone. We've seen games like Destiny 2 not even get one earnable armor set in over a year for the core playlist, but loads of cash shop sets are added no problem, and Bungie's recent State of the Game blog post cites a lack of resources to make one new armor set to earn. How so? Just take the resources from at least one of those cash shop sets and apply it to the actual fucking game. Saying this shit doesn't affect me or the game is an asinine thing to say. I think of a game like Sea of Thieves, where the point of the game is to earn gold to buy really expensive cosmetics. But why grind for gold if you can just buy better looking cosmetics at the cash shop and the battle pass? I'm sure you have similar examples with games you've played or are actively still playing, and it eventually gets deflating to think about the fact that monetization has become the sole focus of so many of our favorite games. But these cash shops and monetization systems only exist and continue to thrive because of wallet gamers. So as much as we can villainize the corporations and greedy upper level managers for modern monetization practices, it's players, or should I say payers, like this, that really has led to the downfall of gaming. Even though the whales are a small percentage of users, they're responsible for more than 50% of the revenue, even up to 70% in some games.
Wait. A small percent of gamers responsible for 50% of the revenue? Where have I heard that statistic before?
Now this is a terrible problem because this leads to many more studios to design their games, again, specifically for this audience. Keep games running on just enough life support to stay afloat, but dump all the majority of resources into monetization. It's a vicious cycle where eventually these studios and whales will begin to destroy each other, if they haven't already. And as more time goes on, I've stayed further and further away from live service gaming in general, because wallet gamers, just like gambling addicts and collectors, can't help themselves. They are the epitome of impulse buying and always fall for FOMO. And just because they have the money, they spend it, casually
Dude, what the fuck is the point of having money if you're afraid to fucking spend it? Life is short. If it brings you joy to buy a fucking video game skin, what is the difference of spending 20 bucks on a fucking video game skin or going out to eat for 20 bucks? Literally nothing. At the end of the day, you're still spending 20 bucks on something that you're never going to get any value out of long term. There is no point in going out to eat if you really fucking boil it down versus eating what you have at home. You do it because you want to spend the money, because you enjoy spending the money on going out to eat and having that experience or getting something that you wouldn't normally have. But it's a consumable. It doesn't provide you any long-term value. The same thing with a fucking video game skin. You buy it, you consume it, you can't do anything with it. If that brings you joy, what is wrong with it? It's like, don't go into fucking debt over video games and shit like that, or don't, like, financially cripple yourself. But if you want to spend money on something because it makes you happy, it's not that big of a fucking deal. The whole point of video games is fucking entertainment and to make you happy. It's about the fucking dopamine rush. I don't know. It's not like some evil fucking thing.
Destroying the industry, blinded by their compulsion to spend. Truly pathetic behavior. Now I want to shift this video into a more positive direction and highlight some examples of games made for gamers, not for wallet gamers. And the first is a recent title, Baldur's Gate 3.
Let's go ahead and read this here, okay? Are there any, this is a question that was sent to the developers, Larian Studios of Baldur's Gate 3, asking about...
like, what is this is like a God's honest question, guys. What is the difference of buying, like, 5 video games versus spending the same amount of money on one video game in the form of cosmetics? Do you really get anything of that greater value from buying multiple video games versus spending money in one video game that you enjoy? Like, at the end of the day, you're spending money on video games, whether it's a microtransaction or an actual new game. Like, is there really any fucking difference between those two things? Not really. You're still wasting your money on video games. You're just spending it in different ways within that category. So if I would rather spend $100 in the Call of Duty shop because I play Call of Duty every single night versus spending $100 for 3 games I may or may not even play at all, what the fuck is the difference? You're still spending money on video games. It's the same shit. It's an entertainment product that offers you 0 long-term value outside of the temporary entertainment it gives you in the moments you're playing it.
In-game purchases. Are there any in-game purchases in Baldur's Gate 3? They respond.
Clause mystery with the 20. Most whales are above 30 anyway. Lol, let them rot. Exact, like DSP. He drops, what, 50 grand a year on WWE? That's the prime example of don't fucking financially cripple yourself spending money on microtransactions.
They say this. No. All right, no, great. No, there will be no
generation, you're not a fucking whale, bro. Do you know how much money you have to spend to be considered a whale in like something like CSGO? You probably would have to drop tens of thousands of dollars a year, if not more, to be considered a fucking whale on CSGO. So you're not. I don't. Maybe you are, but you spent 20 grand this year or in total? Because I'm talking yearly. You have to spend a lot. Yeah, total. That's way different than yearly, my guy. You have people that take like $600 out of every single paycheck they get, so like $1,000 a month, and will just fucking wail out on CSGO cases. So, yeah, you're not in that whale category yet.
Purchases in our game. We believe in providing a complete and immersive gaming experience without the need for additional purchases. Enjoy the game to its fullest without any additional costs or microtransactions. I think, guys, we don't get a lot of those nowadays, you know? It's been a while since we've been able to hear this, and it's nice to hear it again. And we had the same thing with Elden Ring, and every once in a while games come out, and they're able to actually be for gamers first. And I understand that this has got a lot of people on Twitter upset, especially people that work at other gaming studios, because they're afraid of being held to the same standard.
Baldur's Gate 3 is a complete package, a game created by individuals and a company that stands by their conviction that microtransactions do not belong in video games. It's no surprise to see it reach over 500,000 players on Steam this past weekend. Now this game is also an interesting case because just like with the release of Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate's release has AAA developers having full-blown meltdowns on Twitter saying that the game is an anomaly and not the new industry standard. Basically lots of empty words and making excuses for why their billion-dollar corporation that they work for can't reach the same levels of Baldur's Gate 3. That it's foolish to believe that this is the new standard, when in truth, these developers are just upset that Larian Studios has upstaged them in every single way. Again, just like when Elden Ring released. And all I'm going to say is that a studio like this that values over-delivery and encourages it, trying their best to satisfy their customers, and reject modern monetization practices should absolutely be supported. So after I finish this video, I'm going to immediately go purchase and begin playing the game. Grim Dawn is an ARPG released back in 2016, which was brought to my attention in one of my comments a while back, specifically when I was voicing my hesitancy to pick up Diablo 4, and thankfully, I did not buy Diablo 4 and instead took the advice of that comment and picked up Grim Dawn for $6. And wow. A feature-complete, lengthy, and content-rich ARPG experience without a single battle pass or cash shop. And in that time, they've released several expansions for the game, and several more free content updates since then, including a new fairly large update set to launch in just a few months. So if you were disappointed or fell out of favor with Diablo 4, I highly recommend picking this one up.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy Diablo 4 at some point, man. I do want to play it, but I have a feeling like this Black Friday, there's gonna be a shit ton of games on sale, so I'm just gonna buy a bunch of stuff then. It's what? 2 months away, 3 months away. So, I mean, with Starfield coming out, then hopefully Space Marine comes out shortly after that. And there's a couple other games too coming out that I'll probably buy, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't really have a huge desire to spend a shit ton of money on video games anymore.
Tunic is a fantastic little game that surprised me more than I thought, and while I haven't finished the game myself, I did watch my wife play through the game at various points, and even help her clear
my wife.
A couple bosses. And this game absolutely blew away my expectations. I'd always heard it was a good game, but Tunic is truly one of the best games ever made. It's on Game Pass, so please, just go play this one. I spoke about BattleBit in a recent—
One of the best games ever made?
Liar!
Ain't no way.
Video, which I recommend checking out if you missed it, but I wanted to bring it up one more time because of what a current DICE producer recently said in regards to Battlefield 2042. Obviously, Battlefield and BattleBit are very similar games, and the community has been memeing on DICE and EA that BattleBit is somehow a better Battlefield game than 2042 is, and DICE producer Ryan MacArthur's response was, players didn't understand how the specialists were supposed to work, and if you don't understand how something is supposed to work, of course you believe that the old way was better. Yeah. Or, maybe Ryan, you don't remove classes from a fucking Battlefield game, you doorknob. You guys weren't so ahead of the curve and clever with your generic specialist system, okay? Your players just aren't stupid. They saw that you changed the game to actively reject the identity of the franchise in which it belongs. So again, I'm here to
reiterate, this shit never interested me either. I never
go play BattleBit. And I've said it before, and I'll always say it.
Really
go play a Souls game, any
out.
of them. I recommend Dark Souls 1 and Bloodborne to start out with. Those two are my personal favorites, but just pick whichever From Software game sounds the most interesting to you, and dive in. There are no games that give more high-quality content and feel more rewarding than From Software titles. Also, check out some more indie titles. There are so many good indies out there.
Undertale.
Bruh.
Get that shit out of here.
There has been a fantastic year for indies. Here's a few more recommendations. Check out my last video for some more recommendations. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Ugh, this is gonna be AIDS.
Tokiasa is one of those stories that you can break down and analyze from a multitude of angles due to its many facets.
Yeah, and it falls apart.
themes, characters, and stories being explored. For me, the defining aspect to Code Geass has always been on the rebellion, and more specifically, the Zero Requiem. This is what represents what Code Geass is and has to offer, which is my main drive for me to rewatch R1 and R2 so often, even after all these years in rewatches. The only ones who should kill are those who are prepared to be killed. Those words follow Lelouch all throughout his journey, and most importantly, towards its ending. There's nearly an unlimited amount of paths of this story.
Yeah, the weebs are out. Actually, it's just you generation. He's the weeb.
Flow down, which is why I'm not surprised in the slightest that there's a 10-year plan for more Code Geass content in the future. The slightest alteration to the narrative creates numerous possibilities for this cast of characters to follow. It's not about who lives or dies, it's all about the results of one's actions. Season 1 makes you feel as if everything is about Lelouch's sister Nonali, and then when you enter Season 2 and as you reach those final episodes, you start to question if that's really his drive anymore.
Oh, look, guys, it's the scene that I told you. This is literally when he orders everyone to fucking become his slave. Oh, wow. It's almost like he could have done this shit at the fucking beginning of the show. Wow. Crazy. Oh, wow, dude. Wild. But then there wouldn't be fucking, what, 50 episodes?
Create a world where she could be safe, free, and happy. But those closing moments of R2, where the pieces snap together in rapid succession, where you see Zero charge towards King Lelouch in order to bring about peace, is one of the greatest moments in anime, period. We watch Lelouch become a dictator, controlling the world through fear, killing all that oppose him. Zero started off as a terrorist, but eventually became a symbol of hope for 11's trapped in Britannia hell, to then being disposed of once Lelouch's identity was exposed. But then making that symbol, a symbol of peace once again, taking all the world's hate, turn it on Lelouch, and make Zero, a faceless figure, bring about world peace once and for all, is fantastic. Code Geass takes you on this journey that you have a solid grasp on it.
No, it's not. Dude, it's so fucking cringe if you actually, like... Alright, so basically what he's saying is this guy makes himself the most hated person on planet Earth, essentially. Conquering every single nation on... Like, literally controls the globe, okay? Wipes out every major empire and government. Has, like, the basically equivalent of nukes. You name it. Total control of planet Earth. The entire plot of this story, somehow, you know, people find this shit acceptable, is his end goal was to amass all of this power in order to make everyone hate him so that when he gets killed, all of a sudden there's fucking world peace. It is the most brain dead, naive, garbage tier ending I have ever fucking heard. Has no one ever, like, actually looked at history? What happens when a massive fucking empire essentially dissolves overnight? It turns into a total fucking bloodbath and competition for the fucking throne. There is not a single motherfucker that is safe in a world like that. I mean, it is the most dumb shit I've ever fucking, like... The more you think about the show, the worse it gets. You can tell it's a fucking comic book, bro. Like, this is some fucking 12-year-old intelligence level writing.
Half of its run. But once Season 2 kicks off, all bets are off. And how Lelouch's death is executed feels like some of the most satisfying payoff in anime, period. As in a world like ours, driven by war, everything will just continue down the same cycle of hatred for all eternity, so something drastic needs to occur to break the wheels of fate. But to take the entire...
That's right, guys, because one guy got killed, all of a sudden no one hates each other anymore. Crazy. Wow. They got rid of an entire human emotion with the death of one human.
World's hatred, put it on one man, a face people want to destroy, and have a symbol of peace free the entire earth from this hell allows for people to put their energy on
sorry, bro. Like,
such as world hunger and poverty, rather than
I used to like this show, but then I watched it a second time and, like, there's no fucking way. It completely falls apart. There's so many issues with it. It's horribly written.
Doing the impossible and fixing what we thought couldn't be fixed, forcing a man who has taken so much life all in order to save the masses, which is a path of death in the eyes of all those he is saving. With his best friend Suzaku forced down a path of life to continue to serve as the knight for justice. Both are forced to atone for their sins in an ironic turn of events, and it never fails to blow my mind whether I rewatch the series or just think about where it all went over R1 and R2. Code Geass has been a favorite of mine ever since I first watched it, and even when I see other anime tell similar design stories, which can be fun and at times exceptionally well executed, only Death Note has ever matched my love for this style of storytelling. Becoming evil to defeat evil, and how Master Plan plans such as these fail or succeed depending on the slightest move by another. Lelouch is an exceptionally strong character who, even from his introduction before the story even really takes flight, you're immediately charmed by his presence. Someone who seems so laid back but burdened by far more than someone his age should. A man with so many talents but wastes them because there's nothing he can or really wants to do. His royal ties has to be kept a secret, forced in the shadow, and spends his days playing student but clearly has a void that needs to be filled. Granting a talented man like this the power of absolute control is a match made in heaven. Power will corrupt all, but if there's anyone that could—
When he made that princess kill everyone, yeah, that was one of the few good moments. I agree, that shit was fire.
Potentially use power correctly, it clearly would be this mysterious—
If that was more of the energy throughout the entire show, then it'd be fire.
Student named Lelouch. Kogias is all about mistakes and what the cost of these mistakes will total by the end, turning soldiers into your new
Dude,
game—
Death Note after episode 25 should not have been a thing. After L died in Death Note, the series should have ended, Light should have got his W, and that should have been fucking close scene. The last 12 episodes of Death Note are a fucking crime.
Game of chess will at first feel fun, as now the game you mastered has a new layer of challenge to it, but there will come a point where that game will cost people their lives, and what your drive is needs to be worth said cost. The story of Lelouch starts off as a talented kid who takes chess to the next level, making people to pieces as he attempts to get checkmate. That being a world where he and his sister can live in peace, not fearing the empire that betrayed them by killing their mother, but also blinded and destroyed Nunnally's legs. At the beginning, you see a potential hero who understands that he has to get his hands dirty to take care of this evil, but for half the story it feels as if everything he does is justified. Learning what happened to him in the past, seeing his father more and more as a scumbag bent on power and cares for no one other than himself, the only possible way to save this world and these characters would be to follow Zero. Kogias immediately makes you trust in this figure and what Lelouch says and does. So when questionable acts occur, we recognize—
Oh, and don't even get me started on, like, the end of this show, too. All of a sudden, it goes from, like, a story about, like, nations, like, trying to take each other over and building empires, to then all of a sudden, the fucking Emperor's real goal is to kill God. Oh, it's so bad. It gets horrible, man. I'm telling you. Like, the final arc of the show, after, like, the nation conquest, is, like, the entire fucking point of the series, is, like, him taking over the different countries. That's, like, the primary focus of the entire fucking series. Then in the last few episodes, it gets to the point where all of a sudden, oh, well, actually, his dad only became emperor because he wanted to kill God. It's just like, bro, what the fuck is this shit? And it's, like, the most corny shit on, like, I'm telling you, man. You'll watch it and you'll laugh. I mean, it's just horribly written. Where did the God aspect come from? They never once mentioned the bro. It was completely out of fucking left field. It's like, there was, like, I feel like they never really, like, dove into, like, the motherfuckers who had, like, the code or whatever. Like, that ancient civilization. It felt like there was, like, 10 episodes in the middle of that transition that were, like, cut out. You know, you go from basically the warring nations to them killing God, and there should have been like 10 episodes in between setting up the fact that, hey, this is why I want to kill God, essentially. You know what I mean? Like, it was horrible. They really just, like, shoved it all out the fucking door, man. It's like somebody sat down on the toilet and pushed out a power shit and said, all right, it's done. Oski Woski with the 5. I don't know, bro. It's just like
the price we have to pay in order for that freedom that he seeks. This allows for the viewer to get roped into Zero's plans the exact same way as the sidecast does. R1 leaves off on one of my favorite cliffhangers of all time. 2 gunshots, and the question of who lived after Suzaku and Lelouch shot at each other once the cat was finally out of the bag.
I hate... Oh, dude, this guy...
And the question of who lived after Suzaku and Lelouch shot...
This guy is the biggest fucking fruitcake piece of shit. Holy fuck, you just want him to fucking die the entire time. What is it with anime creating, like, the most hated fucking character possible who becomes, like, the main good guy? Like, why does every single anime have literally the most unlikable good guy or hero? You know what I mean? Like, Naruto turns into the self-righteous cunt. This guy is a self-righteous cunt. And there's countless of them.
shot at each other once the cat was finally out of the bag on who Zero was. Other anime have tried to replicate this situation. Look, 2 characters could die and then the realization that no one did. It worked in Code Geass because of everything that Season 1 built up to, but so many have failed at a similar scenario since this release. R2 starts off making you think it's lost its magic. Why the hell are we back in school? Who the hell is Rolo? And how the hell is he his brother? Parallel universe maybe? Did they jump the shark? But I like
this
many
shit
were
was
fooled, and now this
horrible
was
as
just the
well.
starting point of what Code Geass was all about. Master plans that when the punchline comes, it will leave you speechless. For me, the reason Lelouch is such a lovable character that you want to root for isn't because he is always right, but rather it's his endless sea of charisma. His Geass has the power of absolute obedience. Everyone's Geass is different depending on the person, so his manifesting into something that naturally clicks with his general persona intoxicates the viewer alongside the characters. And it's not just that he's some ladies' man, he's just someone who's pleasant to be around, who can twist these words into such an interesting form of art that just leaves you following his every single word. Even when he does questionable acts, from simple situations breaking the school rules to brutally murdering people, the way he delivers his words, be it from the mouth of Zero to the student Lelouch, people naturally will want to follow him and excuse any of his bad actions, as he always has an answer to any question, and most people can't think on the fly such as him. Naturally, humans will follow the strong when they attempt to lead us. So like with the characters, whether under the influence of Geass or just his clever words, you feel safe around Lelouch despite being surrounded by death and despair. One of my favorite moments surrounding Lelouch outside his brilliant death plan is how he manipulates Rolo all the way to his death scene. Rolo is a character who I feel the anime community rips into far too much. This is a man who is tasked at being an assassin since pretty much day
Yeah, man, leave him alone.
one.
How did it stop?
Due to his
What the
Geass
fuck?
ability. Despite being forced to play the brother part, he naturally comes to love Lelouch because the only time in his life that didn't feel artificial was when he was playing brother. Lelouch, of course, hates this false reality, forcing his sister away from everyone's minds and replacing her with this so-called brother. But because Lelouch has the best poker face, he feeds into that brotherly love that turns his assassin into his personal weapon. Rolo does actions that infuriate me. His jealousy and fear that others will replace him causes him to kill Shirley, a moment that still makes my blood boil. But you understand how someone who never had anything, who was taught that killing is like eating breakfast every day, you just do it to live to see another day. You understand why he commits these acts. But even after Lelouch snaps and betrays Rolo, the false brother in his final moments convinces himself that his big brother was just protecting him and that he is a liar. Lelouch will manipulate anyone to get what he wants. He manipulates
The
others
best
to end
big
people
brother
safe and ignorant.
I could have ever asked for.
Someone who naturally cares for people, and in Rolo's dying moments, he lets him think that he never thought of him as anything less than his little brother. Up to that point, it was all a lie, but in those final moments, it feels as if that lie he tells his dying hero becomes his truth. Many authors, when they write characters who commit heinous acts, rarely accept what they are doing and justify it in a way that takes the blame off of themselves. And if you listen from Zero's perspective, you'd think Lelouch is exactly that, a guy who feels like he can just do no wrong. It's a big factor to the mid and late game of this story when characters such as Ogi start to doubt in Zero. But the man behind the mask, who only tells his true feelings to C2 and eventually Suzaku towards the end, is a man with plenty of guilt, but accepts what it is he must become in order to destroy the world to let it be reborn anew. Who accepts his fate with a smile on his face, with only a select few knowing the truth about everything that he did and how they're
Hearing this, like, autistic fucking analysis is not helping it. It makes it even worse.
peace is the result of the man that they now hate.
Because it's just like, how fucking naive are you? Like, you actually believe... Like, I get it's a fucking anime, bro, but it's like, you really think one motherfucker dying is gonna change anything?
Lelouch is just a
Hell
perfectly flawed
no.
character who you are enchanted by every step of the way.
By that fucking logic, every single time one of the shitty Roman emperors got executed, the fucking empire would have been completely reformed, there would have been peace, prosperity, you know, everything would have fucking, you know, just gone back to normal. No! Another fucking crazy took his place after it went into fucking civil war for 10 fucking years. Getting rid of one guy doesn't fucking change shit. It's just, it's insanely fucking naive, bro. And the sad thing is like, I would say the first season is actually pretty well written. The first season is very well written. It's somewhat, you know, believable in the realm of like an anime, but the second season's just like, bro, what the fuck is this shit?
Giving your character a superpower is one thing. Limiting that power to one use per person is another.
Like, the first season's more like a tactics anime, bro. It's like more about like tactical fucking, you know, moves and strategy and things of that nature. And then it becomes like this massive fucking just like, dude. War is bad puff piece, I guess is a good way to put it. It's horrible.
But the cherry on top is how the more Geass he uses, the less stable he and this power becomes, unless he truly is the one to master this curse like C2 hopes. When Geass no longer shuts off and he casually explains this phenomenon to his sister Yuffie, which in result causes her to commit murder on innocent civilians, it truly represents who and what Lelouch, but also Zero, represents. A voice that controls the will of the people, and the death that follows close behind. He never wanted this, but now that this mistake occurred, he turns...
Lord Pothead invests with the 5. Is that really how it ends? His dumb plan fails with a 10-year war. Well, basically what happens is he dies, and then we're supposed to believe that every single nation on planet Earth agrees to live in peace for all of eternity. The end. That is how the fucking show ends. He gets killed, then all of a sudden every single nation on planet Earth agrees to come together, settle their differences, and live in fucking peace for all of eternity. That's the fucking ending. A movie came out where that doesn't... What a shock. Wow. Who would have seen that coming? I guess the ending wasn't that great after all, huh? Even the fucking creator of the show thought it was a trash ending and had to make a movie to like say, oh yeah, this didn't actually fucking work.
Into a weapon for the Black Knights to use against the Empire and enhance their support even more without weapon thought, despite being burdened by so much guilt. To be able to cause the death of your sister, someone you wanted to live, force murder on those you're trying to protect, and immediately know how to use this atrocity as your greatest weapon is nothing short of demonic, which is why Lelouch is the perfect demon to bear the sins of this entire world. Suzaku has always been my favorite main character next to Lelouch, of course. His story is tragic, killing his father in attempts to stop violence, but in result just created more with a different coat of paint, making that murder pointless, which did nothing to help his people except rub salt into his own wounds, forcing his way to the top in hopes to direct change in a diplomatic way from the inside, while Lelouch contrasts him wanting to destroy it from the outside. Even when I rooted for Lelouch, which, I'll be honest, was every single time, even when he made mistakes, that charisma, it just had me wrapped around his finger. I never felt like Suzaku's actions, which 90% of the time went against Lelouch, were a bad thing, without his morality being a constant buzzing in our ear reminding us that really only Suzaku is attempting to make things right in a pretty human way. Lelouch would have had very few voices of wisdom bringing him back down from his power high. With the fact that both of them end up in a place opposite to where you would expect them, especially based on how they want to live. Lelouch willing to die for the sins of the world, unable to live that life with his dear sister, his entire purpose to starting the rebellion, and the loyal knight Suzaku, unable to die due to the curse of Gias locking him in an endless state of life.
A third season is coming? Oh shit, bro. They're gonna make it even worse.
Alive and well. A man who wants to die, tasked with life, and one who wants to be with his sister, tasked to be the devil and die for her future. I can't express how much I love this. What's funny to think about is how Code Geass is my favorite mecha because of how little the emphasis is actually put on the mechas seen here. But without them, the battles would feel quite lackluster. Nightmares are incredibly fun, both on a visual level and what they do for the tactics overall. Something is almost always happening, and throwing your soldiers inside these robotic bodies where everything is increased to the max. Explosions, lasers, flying machines, guns around every corner, but because they are heavily armored, allows for action to last longer than typical military combat, or at the very least make it so they don't have to stay behind cover at every moment when they aren't attacking. This is
well, dude, he was immortal at the end of the fucking series. That's the thing. Because his dad killed the fucking brother who became, like, an immortal, basically. Because, like, alright, correct me if I'm wrong here. Let's get into fucking anime autism mode. So basically what happens is when you unlock your power with both eyes, you become capable of killing the person that gave you the power in the first place. And when you're capable of killing the person who gave you the power, you inherit their immortality. So therefore, when fucking his dad killed his fucking uncle and gained immortality, then Lelouch killed his fucking dad, gained his immortality, he got stabbed, so he didn't actually die. So, yeah. It was pretty obvious he didn't die, but yeah.
What you expect from most mechas, which is kind of the big appeal to them. But at no point are the mechas what truly make these battles what they are. They're just an important ingredient. The most important aspect is how the commanders, be it Lelouch to his brother Schneisel, commands these troops. When Lelouch first takes command, he treats these rebels like pieces in a game of chess. Because of this tactical mind, a generic action sequence becomes quite fascinating. The way he commands each troop to move, act, and perform in such precise ways that only someone of his IQ could come up with on the fly, feel as if he is playing a game of chess as dozens of lives are on the line, is spectacular. Remove their mechas and the sequence just feels off. Sure, you can have fun surprise attacks, but it'd feel like a cooked meal without the seasoning. Something would just naturally feel weird. Add in the flair and the extra layers of nightmares, and this battle makes the strategy feel a
it's
lot more
Armored Core.
organic, as if he really is moving chess pieces around that just so happen to have human pilots within. That's the beauty of Code Geass. The slightest alteration makes or breaks the story overall. I began highlighting how stunning the death of Lelouch was and how it's the defining moment of Code Geass for me. But if that's all there was to this anime, it wouldn't stick with me for all these years. It's the countless aspects, moments, and characters that elevate this story into what it is. You remove nightmares and the battles feel a lot less complex and not the game of chess that we've come to know and love. Without Suzaku being the voice of reason, but also hypocrisy due to his own actions in the past being a small example of Zero's own desires in the present. Schneisel feeling like a pretty good guy that might guide Britannia down the correct path, but then the realization he is far worse than his father ever was. Hell, Charles' master plan that, honestly, if we didn't have our boy Lelouch leading this tale, I probably would have sided with his idea of a new world where things are locked into place. The schoolyard hijinks.
See, right there is where he kills him and gets the immortality.
Reminding you how this character is supposed to act like, but he's playing the part of a war criminal and at times a dictator, while also giving us enough points to just decompress alongside the cast. Without all these tiny pieces that generally stand tall by themselves combining into either a mind-shattering moment or just emotionally gripping one, Code Geass would have been a one-hit wonder. But because the rebellion was bigger than just Lelouch and affected this entire world, the people we loved and the ones we hated, Lelouch Lelouch designed his battles as a game of chess where everyone was a piece to manipulate, and once he reached checkmate, the king had to fall. But the entire template to this anime is a game of perfectly designed chess that has a little bit of everything that makes anime what it is and delivers laughs, pain, shocking realizations, Pizza Hut, and moments you just can't get out of your head. I adore Code Geass from the dub to the sub, to the animation to the art design to what the story brought to the table, with its characters and themes overall. Even if a majority of all the new projects fail, or even surpass what we see here with R1 and R2, one thing will always remain: that this story, this open and shut tale right here, is some of anime's best. That this rebellion is
If this is the best anime has to offer, then that tells you a lot about the fucking medium.
memorable because of all the pieces laid out before us, and only a handful of anime can leave off on both of its season with our jaw on the floor, but feeling rewarding and also fulfilling. I feel as if Code Geass is
like, bro, this guy is set up as like this intelligent, ultra fucking high IQ military strategist. Are you telling me he never realized he could just tell people to obey his every command, and he didn't realize that almost every single time the head of an empire dies, it devolves into civil war? Like, that's some pretty basic shit, dude. I don't fucking know. Like, it's irritating.
the series I could dedicate an entire month to, and why I love
it's
all the parts that
anime,
make
bro. You gotta have like a room temperature IQ to be like, yeah, this was really intelligently written.
to show what it is, but in one
Yeah,
lump
there's the fucking Chinese eunuchs, though, that I was talking about earlier that get fucking killed.
This is why I love this show so damn much, because Lelouch's rebellion is masterfully crafted, blending what we know
fucking
and so much we don't
nasty-ass
know about anime
Chinese
into one perfect
eunuchs.
package. Few anime with 50 episodes I can rewatch once a year, let alone sometimes twice a year, but Code Geass is most certainly one of them. Let me know if you have any thoughts on Code Geass or this video down in that comment section below. If you did enjoy, be sure to drop a like to show your support, and also be sure to subscribe if you happen to be new around here. Lastly, there's my Patreon for those who want to go the extra mile and help support what I do around here even more. That is if you so wish. So until next time, everyone, please take care, and as Lelouch v Britannia commands you, have a good one.
Also, the other thing that's super unbelievable, guys. Alright, so you all know, like, with the British royal family, right? I think it's pretty well established, correct, that everybody's kind of familiar with the British royal family, especially if you live in, I don't know, Britain? I think we can all agree that most people in the UK are aware of the British royal family, right? I don't feel like that's a crazy statement to make. Now, imagine a world where one of the princes of the British royal family, you know, decided to not wear a disguise, literally walked around looking like himself and no one else, and we're supposed to believe that no one knew who he was? Because this show wants you to believe that this fucking, you know, prince of the empire just was chilling at a fucking high school and nobody knew who the fuck he was the entire fucking show. Like, yeah. It's really bad. Dude, it just gets worse the more you look at it. I don't know, man. I think it's just an anime problem. Like, it's written for 13-year-olds. If you're 13, which is, I think I was younger when I watched this the first time. I think I was, what year did this come out? I think I watched it like in 2009 or something like that. I don't fucking remember, but yeah, I watched this when I was like pretty young. So I enjoyed it at the time, but I was also a dumbass kid. Now, I can't look at it and be like, yeah, I can ignore all these fucking massive plot holes and issues. But, yeah, I don't know, man. It is what it is. Alright, so this is Brit's. This is, I guess, Brit's new crush. I don't fucking know.
These turkeys came out April 2023. And I'm one of the first people to consume them on this TikTok. Are you jealous of moi? I know you're jealous.
Ugh.
5-second rule.
Oh my god. That is disgusting.
What's up, Gabriel?
Dreamcast guy actually speaks at a normal speed, to his credit.
Dreamcast guy here, talking today about Sea of Stars.
Brit is in heat right now. Bruh. Oh my god.
Now this review is...
I heard this game was actually good. It looks like a menu scroller though.
Going to be incredibly in-depth because...
I was just playing this game. It's pretty fun. Well, there you go.
I've been very excited for Sea of Stars. It's a classic nostalgia-based RPG. It's something that's sort of imitating classic games like Final Fantasy or Chrono Trigger, but at the same time is very modern. I loved my playthrough of Sea of Stars quite a bit. It's 25 hours that's jam-packed with combo.
And Vendetta with the 2, Bleach blows the show out of the water. I agree.
And side quests and so much freaking combat, but at the same time it has a few very glaring problems that I think need to be discussed. So are you ready? Here we go. Be sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already, but let's start things off by asking the question, what is Sea of Stars? These young heroes are called the Solstice Warriors, and essentially in their world magic is incredibly rare, but everything is based on certain elemental types. Being the Solstice Warriors, they have powers of moon magic.
Magic is pretty rare in our world, too.
Magic or fire magic to channel the powers of the sun. And since it is incredibly rare, these people end up going to magic school and getting assigned a destiny.
Dude, obviously he beat it 10 times in the first day.
To destroy the Dwellers. Now, this isn't a spoiler, it's the opening of the game, but that's kind of their job, is to save the world by destroying these weird foes called the Dwellers, which are like big, weird, magical monsters that need to be fought with sun power and moon power. The plotline of Sea of Stars starts off just so basic and bare bones. It's so straightforward, but it really grows. As we learn...
Vendetta with the 2, Aizen, the true goat and hero of Bleach, unironically at the end, too.
Learn about our characters.
No spoilers or anything, but yeah, that super chat's actually spot on, especially at the end.
And actually get a chance to interact with different kingdoms and go to different islands, you really begin to appreciate not just the coolness of this world, but the beauty of it. Now, I want to talk about the gameplay, but after that, we really need to go deep onto this art because it is jaw-dropping at times. Now, the fighting in this starts off appearing like...
My jaw hit the floor.
Classic turn-based battles. You and the opponent...
It's like that guy with the fucking Amico game. My jaw hit the ground when he saw fucking Finnegan Fox. Bruh.
Take turns punching each other in the face, but it's sort of an illusion. This game is actually very interactive. Whenever you're hitting an opponent, by tapping the action button right as you collide, you can land extra hits. If somebody's about to blast you, same thing, you can actually tap the action button to do an extra defensive block, which means that even though the combat is slow,
that's kind of smart.
It still requires
I like that.
A heavy amount of attention. But that's not all.
That's actually really smart, dude, because these type of games, like sitting there waiting for the fucking turns to like go through, you get really unengaged and you put the game down and then you go like on your phone or some shit and then you forget you're playing it. So I don't know. I feel like that's kind of smart in terms of like game design.
One of my favorite things about this combat system is that when you're beating people up, the enemies, they have this charge up. It's called locks. So you can see that I'm fighting somebody and they've got a whole row of things. Now it shows the different things they're currently weak to. Usually it'll say like, hey, this person needs to be hit twice with swords, once with mallets. They need to be hit by a moonstrike. By actually doing this, you can reduce
Women
the
are my
damage they're
weakness,
about to
guys.
deal. So bosses, sometimes, if it's like a dragon or something, they'll suck in a huge breath, and then you have 3 turns to dish out enough magic, enough power, enough...
Well, Dreamcast guy makes his fucking accounts private, so you can't see how little he plays the games that he reviews, quote unquote. So we'll never know.
Raw might to either weaken their attack so it doesn't one-shot your entire party, or sometimes even just flat out stop the attack by doing a long enough combo. I like that this feels so active, but there is an additional layer to this combat that's absolutely great. If you just bash somebody, just punching them straight up, whenever you do a simple melee attack, it actually knocks out this little mana energy. It restores some of your own magic power, but you can also choose to do a magic boost. If you and your party just keep doing simple strikes over and over again, all this mana will pile up on the ground. You can charge it into a particular person by pulling the right trigger, and once you soak it in, you can unleash your own super attacks, which are your basic strikes, but way more charged up to do extra elemental damage big time. I like the idea that it gives you this extra...
Dude, Dreamcast guy is just a chronic fucking hater of the Xbox. Like, that's the thing. He has a legitimate hate boner for the Xbox, and it's really weird. I don't know. Because under normal circumstances, he probably would be excited for Starfield. But because it's an Xbox game, he's not. I don't understand that shit. I mean, whether Starfield is an Xbox game or not, I'm not really that excited for it. But, hey, to each their own. But if this was a normal Bethesda game, he would be very hyped for it. Just like how he talked to that developer about Fallout 76.
Freedom, so that even if you are out of mana, each attack matters. Every strike, every combo, every block all adds together to your eventual victory. Now, if this seems like it might be too complicated, they do have this system called relics where you can just go into the menu and make this stuff very automatic, but I feel like most players are going to be able to pick up on this and really appreciate it relatively quick. But I will say, this brings me to one of my major gripes with Sea of Stars, which is that there really isn't much variance to the magic. Each person really only kind of gets a couple spells.
Isn't that because it's rare? Like you literally just explained at the beginning?
Played as the dude. He's able to shoot fireballs and do like this phase attack where he teleports and stabs people. There's like a lady with poison daggers who can do a kick sometimes. There's a lady that can like throw little tiny ping pong balls of nighttime energy. But that's it. I'm showing you clips from the first 15 hours of the game, and it all kind of looks identical. As you explore the different dungeons, you can sometimes find new combination attacks. Certain characters...
I started with a 5. Very, very short. Sounds like me. But yeah, we can check it out.
Your combos will get the ability to do an X-Strike or a Solstice Warrior combo. Now, these are cool looking and they deal a lot of damage, but it's weird to me that each individual person doesn't just get more magic. Like, in 15 hours, I think I got 2 new spells, which felt weird because you spend a lot of time doing your basic attacks, which meant that sometimes, especially on the bigger fights, it kind of felt a bit dry to see enemies getting more complex, more magical, and I'm still sitting here doing my basic level 1 blast over and over again. Things do change with time. There is some big advancements to the magic repertoire. I just wish it was a bit more soon. I wish that we didn't have to wait 5 or 6 hours to even begin to get a peek at the depths of this magic system. But now, let me talk about the side quests and the absolutely brilliant presentation. As you explore these different territories and go from island to island...
Dude, this looks like a great game to play on your Steam Deck when you're caramelizing onions, if you ask me.
Really have a chance to see some really gorgeous vistas. There's a lot of...
How beautiful.
different styles of exploration, like grapple hooks and the ability to have like wind push, so you can make like tiny rafts while you're exploring some of the more watery dungeons. But again and again, while I was checking out haunted houses and frosty peaks and really cool underground areas and stuff like that, I was actually just impressed by how much impressive detail they're getting out of pixel art.
It looks like a slightly better Stardew, bro. Like, quit hyping up the graphics.
There must be some extra optical illusion to this. Like,
no, the game that does pixel art right is Octopath Traveler. Dude, Octopath Traveler looks fucking fire. And I don't like pixel games. Like, this game just looks really fucking good.
Here. We begin with path actions and talents. A wide range of options are at your disposal.
This is how you do pixel art, bro.
Which characters will you take along on your journey? Just imagine the possibilities. Now, let's explore the strategies available in battle to augment the strength or
like, if you're gonna do pixel art in the modern age, this is how you do pixel art.
effectiveness of your actions and devastate your foes. Next, let's explore the job system. In addition to each to your heart's desire.
But yeah, this does not compete.
Like, I don't know a lot about programming and stuff, but something about this feels so three-dimensional, even though the pixels are flat. Every shadow is so deep. There's times where you're doing puzzles and you're controlling the sun and the moon, and you actually watch everything go from day to night. All these little tiny moments make the world seem...
Dude, I 100% agree that Pokemon should take Octopath's art style. I think I've mentioned that before, like, a couple times. Like, yeah, no, 100%, bro. Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree. I fucking hate the open world bullshit that they've turned Pokemon into. Like, that linear pixel art style, I think, is the best place that Pokemon was. And if they had, like, some shit like Octopath as far as, like, the art style, I think it'd be perfect.
So beautifully alive, even though it is obviously this like cartoonish graphic style. Seeing a huge sleeping dragon, talking to fish people. I mean, there was just so many moments where I legitimately sat my controller down and just stared at it. Literally just recorded. I was recording the gameplay and I just sat there and went, how does this game look so good? This was made by 25 developers. And it looks better than some AAA releases I've seen, and that's not a freaking joke.
No, it does not. That is a lie. It does not look better than AAA games.
Let's talk a bit about the side content.
Come on now.
I think something that people appreciated a lot during especially the Super Nintendo era, the Sega Genesis era.
It's okay to say you like a fucking art style. It's another thing to say that it looks better. No. This is a pixel game, bro.
The original Super Nintendo RPGs we used to get 25, 30 years ago is that a lot of those games had really charming side content. Stuff that would actually make
bro, it looks so much better than Starfield. Totally.
The game itself easier because...
He'd probably say that.
Well, you know, you could craft super weapons or get magic more powered up. I like the side content in this, but it is extremely optional. It does pretty much nothing. It's just there to be charming and cool and build the world. There's like a tabletop game you can play called Slides, which is like a little strategy game. It's kind of fun. There's fishing, which is kind of nice, I guess, but the fishing just gives you basically extra food, and then you can cook the food at campsites to have extra health potions. Now, that's pretty useful, but a lot of the stuff didn't feel extremely useful.
Man of War.
Now, this is my own personal taste, but I appreciate when a game is kind of difficult, so I feel subtly encouraged to do the side stuff so that I have that extra bit of power to defend myself and defeat the next boss. This game, you can't really get overpowered. They have a system that's like anti-grinding. There's a limited amount of enemies, and you can't exactly just like run back and forth. There's no random battles. Every single fight in the entire game is a scripted sequence where you stumble upon somebody and then battle them right there in the dungeon, and it looks great. The combat is very fun, even if it is a bit shallow at times, but you can't overlevel. If you get too strong, then it starts to give you less XP, and if you're underleveled, it gives you more XP. So you're always at exactly the same level as it intends.
That's gay.
I mean, personally, I like power leveling in games.
Yeah, I like being OP as fuck.
I mean, I think it's cool to sometimes just enjoy the atmosphere, find all the hidden...
Like, that's the thing, bro. Like, that's what's fun about RPGs is you get to go in, get really overpowered, and just go murk some fucking enemies. Like, I don't know.
Items, go back and forth and test every single button. But here, I didn't really feel that push. It felt cool sometimes to go down a wrong path on purpose and find an additional dagger and stuff, but a lot of times the stat bonuses were very, very insignificant. I like going to town and spending my gold to buy an extra piece of gear or equip a new passive bonus, but a lot of the stuff, it really felt like the story, the world, the music are so much at the forefront of this product that they kind of forgot that, hey, part of a role-playing game is that delicious grind. When you level up, you get some flat stat bonuses that increase your magic damage and your health and stuff like that, but it's kind of nice that you can pick extra specific skills. I just kind of wish that there was a bit more of that encouraged depth. Over and over again throughout the course of Sea of Stars, it kind of got the vibe that they were afraid to make the game too difficult, that they want this to be extremely accessible to newcomers, which is fine. I mean, this is a good starter RPG. In fact, I'd say it's one of the best modern starter RPGs, but I wish that I could turn on some sort of option where it's like, okay, I want to be able to grind. I want to be able to unlock magic just by running around a bit. It's weird.
Gotta get the sequel, bro.
That everything is just made to get you to the next checkpoint, get you to the next foe, get you to that next big cutscene so you can enjoy the world building. When sometimes, even when I did defeat a giant boss, almost every single major encounter in this game kind of felt like an interactive cutscene. And that's kind of not my style. But overall, I had a great time. This game is coming to Xbox Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, so really, I think everybody should get it. I beat it on Steam. I played it quite a bit on Steam Deck during the course of this review. It's also coming to Switch. I'm definitely going to buy it again on Nintendo Switch just to support it. But if you are looking for that next cool indie darling, I do think this is it.
Dude, this is why he has roommates at almost age 40. He already owns the fucking game, and he's going to go drop money on it to quote-unquote support it. Dude, you reviewing the game and giving it a good review is supporting the fucking game. You don't need to go and drop more money on a game you already fucking own. That is a horrible idea. Like what? This got 18,000 views? There you go. You just marketed the game to 18,000 potential people. That's more than enough.
Okay, so we've heard some good and some bad, but let's go over to the ratings board and put a big number on it. I am giving Sea of Stars an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big old thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming. And definitely, if you have Game Pass, if you have PlayStation, install it, play it. The first couple hours are slow, but it has some delicious build-up. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else.
Alright, guys, it's 4:28. I'm going to hop off. And oh wait, no, we got one more video. Shit, my bad. It's very, very short though, so we're good. Oh, I saw this earlier.
Did anyone get that?
Yeah.
Daryl! You better move. You're gonna go next.
They changed!
Get out now! Get out! On the ground! All of you on the ground now! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Don't move!
We're not violent! Yeah, I saw this earlier, bro. Fucking based cops. If they were in North Carolina, you'd just be able to run them over. I think North Carolina is one of those states. Let me look it up. States where you can legally run over protesters. North Dakota, North Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, and Texas propose bills that would make it illegal. Wait, make it legal for drivers to hit protesters if they're blocking a major highway. There you go. Hell yeah. That should be a fucking federal law, dude. These fucking climate protesters belong in one place, and that's scraped against the pavement. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off now. Have a wonderful, Tuesday tomorrow? And I will talk to y'all later. Peace out, everyone.